The Battle of Antietam.
The Battle of Antietam took place at Antietam Creek in Sharpsburg, Maryland. Antietam Creek is 42 miles long and is in present-day Hagerstown Valley.
The Battle of Antietam lasted 3 days, September 16th, 17th, and 18th, in 1862.
The two major generals during the Battle of Antietam were Robert E. Lee for the Confederates and General George McClellan for the Union.
Robert E. Lee was born on January 19, 1807. He was the Major General of the South during the Battle of Antietam. Lee was very skilled, and he graduated top of his class at West Point. Robert E. Lee's previous military experience consisted of being a staff officer in the Mexican War, a superintendent at West Point, and he got promoted to full general in August 1861, where he took field command of Joseph E. Johnston's army due to his injuries. Lee passed away on October 12, 1870.
General George McClellan, during the Battle of Antietam, was ordered to destroy the Confederate army, but he failed to follow orders. Instead of punishing the Confederate forces, he let them surrender and leave. Because of this, President Abraham Lincoln relieved the general of his command in late 1862. McClellan's past experiences, including being a former U.S. Army officer, railroad president, politician, and he served as Union General in Battle of Antietam. He was born on December 3, 1826, and he passed away on October 29, 1885.
There were more than 22,000 casualties recorded on September 17, 1862, making it the bloodiest single-day battle ever. The Union suffered 12,400 casualties, while the Confederates suffered 10,300.
Throughout the three-day battle, 131,000 soldiers were engaged. 87,000 were for the Union, while only 45,000 were Confederate. These numbers gave the Union a clear numerical and strategical advantage. The Battle of Antietam marked the first Confederate invasion of the northern states by General Robert E. Lee. Through September 15th and 16th, both armies gathered on opposing sides of Antietam Creek. On September 17th, when fighting commenced, the Union soldiers advanced forward under the command of Generals Joseph Hooker, Joseph Mansfield, and Edwin Sumner. After 8 hours of bloody combat, the Confederate army was hurt but not defeated. As darkness appeared, both armies were heavily wounded, yet both sides held their place. This day-long fight resulted in the bloodiest one-day battle in American history. The following morning, on September 18th, both armies regrouped and buried their dead. Later that evening, General Robert E. Lee retreated and brought his forces back into Virginia.
This quote is from Major General Joseph Hooker. In the time that I am writing, every stalk of corn in the northern and greater part of the field was cut as closely as could have been done with a knife, and the slain lay in rows precisely as they had stood in their ranks a few moments before. It was never my fortune to witness a more bloody, dismal battlefield. This quote talks about General Hooker's perspective on the battlefield.
Fun fact! Did you know that General Joseph Hooker is cited as being the inspiration for prostitutes being called hookers?
I was laying on my back, supported on my elbows, watching the shells explode overhead and speculating as to how long I could hold up my finger before it would be shot off. For the very air seemed full of bullets. When the order to get up was given, I turned over quickly to look at Colonel Kimball, who had given the order, thinking he had become suddenly insane. Lieutenant Graham states his horrific war-front experience that changed his life.
With Robert E. Lee's retreat, President Lincoln was given the opportunity to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. This proclamation focused on the Union's efforts of the abolition of slavery. The Battle of Antietam halted European intervention because once news of the Union victory in the battle had reached Europe, both European superpowers from France and Britain chose to remain neutral.
The Battle of Antietam proved very crucial for the Union side. It not only gave President Abraham Lincoln the chance to introduce the Emancipation Proclamation, but it was very key in the further victory of the Union in the American Civil War.